Hi guys, it's Erica and I have my soil supplies out right now because my friend gave me this alocasia that was in their backyard and they literally just dug it up and put it in this pot to give to me. So I'm gonna give it a home. So it does look sad because it has been in a spot that was kind of being trampled. So that's why it's here with me right now. And I'm gonna give it a nice little home indoors where it's not gonna get so cold. And I hope that it doesn't go dormant because it's been pretty cold outside. It's been pretty cold outside. It hasn't been like super cold, but to me it's been very cold. So I'm gonna clean this guy up and I'm gonna put it in its own little pot with some soil it likes. And hopefully it will do really well in my care and I'll have a fuller plant by this time next year. So I guess step one for this plant is gonna be to clean it up. So I'm gonna do that right now in my mixing bowl. It's definitely got a lot of old leaves attached to it. So I guess this is the last leaf left. Hopefully it's gonna grow more. Alocasias have bulbs, so that's what this whole clump is doing. I'm really happy to see this root here. The rest look kind of dead, so I'm gonna have to chop those. Oh, this root is really big too, but it got kind of smashed. I'll take some dirt off and then I'll show you the bulb. So right now it's kind of looking like a turnip. It has these little dried out roots. My thought right now is that they are missing the sheaths. So I think these were dead roots and then the sheaths got pulled off. You can see how this root is very thick and then this one is very thin. This thick part is a sheath covering this thin part. Well, that's what I think is happening. Oh, there's kind of, so you can see right here that the root looks thicker up here than down here, and that's because it still has this sheath that you can actually just pull off. So you see I'm just pulling it off, and that's what I think happened to all of these roots over here. So I'm just gonna cut them off, and it has two okay looking roots and some more growing out of the bulb, which I'm so happy about. I'm about to have another alocasia. And honestly, I don't know what kind of alocasia this is. I'm gonna have to look into it. Here's how it's looking now. I honestly don't think that I needed to cut off all of those little roots, but I just think it looks so much better now. So it probably wasn't necessary, but I did it and I think it looks great now. So this guy looks like it's ready to be potted up. I'll just lay him here. The soil that it was in, I kind of have what came off of the root ball, seems very muddy. I'm not sure if that's kind of like a clay component, but I feel like it was very muddy. Since it was in the ground, I think it was okay for it to be in a situation like that, but it was grown outside in the ground. So if it got too much water, it could easily drain all the way down so that it wasn't around the actual plant. It also doesn't rain too often. It might have been watered, but if it was overwatered, there was a place for that water to go to. Since I'm bringing it into my house, I'm going to put it in a pot. This is the pot that I'm going to be putting the alocasia in. I think it is the perfect size for what we have going on here. It's not gonna have too much space to kind of have extra dirt holding water that it doesn't really need. So I'm going to be using this pot, and right now I'm just going to set this aside and start making the soil. This little rolling cart here is full of soil that I made out of hookah core, pumice, worm castings, and orchid bark. So I'm going to be using this. This is going to be my soil mix base, and I'm going to continue adding amendments to make the soil even more well draining. Since I'm putting the alocasia into a terracotta pot, I don't need it to be too well draining because the terracotta is going to help wick away some of that extra moisture. And I'm also not really someone who overwaters their plants, so I don't really need to worry about overwatering too much. But of course I don't want the plant to have wet feet, which is where kind of too much water lingers around the roots, and that's where it's gonna give this plant root rot and be detrimental to the plant. So this is what my soil mix looks like right now, and I'm just gonna add in some extra pumice and some extra orchid bark. I didn't add too much extra. We're just gonna see where this takes me. So this is how the soil looks now, and I'm pretty happy with that. Now, I'm not an expert on alocasia soils, but an alocasia is an aroid, and I think I found this soil mix to be good for my monsteras, so I'm hoping that my alocasia will appreciate it as well. I didn't use large orchid bark chunks because I'm not sure how an alocasia would like having large orchid bark chunks, so I kept it just fine grade orchid bark, and that just means that the orchid bark is in a lot tinier little chunks. Let's get potting. As always, I'm just gonna start by filling up, covering the little hole at the bottom, and just filling the soil enough so that I can have as much alocasia poking out of the soil. So I think this is a good depth for the plant, and I'm just gonna add some more soil over that. Kind of pressing around, not compacting the soil too much. So this is how it's looking right now. This is how deep I've placed it. So the reason I chose to put it this deep is because I'm assuming that this is from an old leaf that used to be there. And the way that I have my alocasias right now is that their leaves kind of start. This is how deep my other alocasias are. So that's why I chose to put it that way. I think it looks really cute. It definitely looks a little bit sad. I am going to water it, and hopefully those two healthy roots will continue growing and the bulb's just going to produce more roots. I'm really excited for this plant. I'm going to keep it in this room. I'm going to have it under this grow light. This leaf does look trashed, but I think it still looks so adorable. I love this plant so much. I'm going to keep it under this grow light in this humidified room. Hopefully spider mites don't get to it. And I am so excited to see if it will pop up some new leaves. I'm not sure if this is a good depth to have the plant, so if you think that I should add more soil, please let me know. If you have any tips on this plant, if you think you know what kind of alocasia it is, that would be super great. If you let me know in the comments down below, I would really appreciate it. That was today's video. I know it was kind of a short one, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!